Highway to Hell Gas vs. Electric Car Tournament. The first group is ready, so let's go and meet them. We have the Stingray, the Kia, the Tesla, and another Lucid Air. Now if you recall correctly, on day one we had another Lucid Air that was an absolute titan on the track, and I'm pretty sure they never lost a single race. And they did have the fastest time out of anybody until a Tesla model came on day two and got that record from them. That being said, this particular Lucid Air is already making a name for themselves and taking quite a bit of a lead, not wanting to be overshadowed by the other Lucid Air that has performed already. They get into this final stretch going backwards, but they have enough ground, it seems, to get that win and keep anybody from catching up to them. Meanwhile, the Stingray is trailing behind by quite a bit, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean they can't make something happen in these next races, because we see that sometimes, depending on which lane you're in, the turns can either help you or really slow you down. But the Lucid Air vehicle has been shown before that they can do well regardless of which lane they're in. And they start off with a 15.7, not quite where they want to be, but I'm pretty sure the first Lucid Air kind of started that way too. Alright, heat number 2, everyone has switched lanes. Let's see if this makes a difference for any of them. The 3 of our racers are doing pretty well, but the Stingray is quickly losing ground, and I'm sure these turns are not going to help them if they're already going that slow. And, whoa, hold on a second, I thought the Lucid Air was just going to take a big lead, but as I'm starting to say that, the other 2 racers go way ahead of them, and the Lucid Air loses a lot of ground on that big turn. Meanwhile, the Tesla and the Kia are racing towards the finish, and it looks like the Kia took the win, with the Tesla coming in second, and the Lucid Air surprisingly finishing in third. I don't know about all of you, but I was thinking we'd have another sweep by that Lucid Air. And unfortunately, the Stingray got stuck up there. Did they actually derail a little bit? It was kind of hard to tell from that angle. But if they do things like that, it's not going to look good for them. So the Lucid Air does not actually get a clean sweep this time, which may surprise a few people. But they did get a win to start off with, so that should help them at least a little bit in terms of overall points, and increasing their chances a little bit to move on to the finals. We're in the middle of Heat 3 now. They're approaching that first turn, and the Lucid Air is trying to fight for first, is kind of going back and forth with the other racers, and is actually not doing as well as I would have expected. But they are staying in second, and as we're seeing, that wide turn is a killer. Because every single racer we've seen so far seems to trail behind a little bit, and the Kia finishes in first again. But the Lucid Air does finish in second, so that'll help them a little bit. But because of that third place finish in race 2, it increases the chances for other vehicles to possibly take the spot in the finals away from them. And a 15.92, certainly not where these racers want to be if they want to catch up to the previous Lucid Air or the Tesla Model X from the last time. Now here we go into the final heat of round 1, and it's the Kia, surprisingly, that has already secured their spot in the finals today. It's just a matter of who's going to join them. The Lucid Air technically has the highest chance right now, but the Tesla also has a shot, but they certainly would need to do really well, while the Lucid Air would need to fall behind. A very specific set of circumstances, but it could still actually happen. As I say this though, the Lucid Air takes full opportunity of the tighter turn and takes the lead away from the Kia. They go into this final stretch now, still a decent distance ahead of the Tesla. They do flip around backwards, but they had enough momentum going forwards to cross the finish line first, ultimately knocking out the Tesla. The Stingray, unfortunately, did not have much of a chance at all at that point. In fact, I think they had no chance. But they still put forth a valiant effort, all things considered. The Tesla, though, did have a shot, but it was ultimately taken away by the Lucid Air, who will join the Kia in the finals. Alright, we're going to go into the second group now. Let's meet our racers. It's the Nissan Z, the Honda, the Mustang, and the Jaguar. We've had a Mustang race before, as well as previous versions of a Nissan, so let's see if they can do better than their previous counterparts. Right now the Jaguar has the lead, but they do have that wider turn there. It does slow them down a little bit, but look at this, they're actually increasing their speed also increasing their lead simultaneously, leaving the other three in the dust. They have that tighter turn, allowing them to maintain their speed, and now the other three racers are just completely off camera. Can they maintain their speed while going into that final turn? They do, and they finish with a pretty good time, I'm sure, with the other three trailing behind. Let's see what kind of time that was. It looks like a 14.89. Still not the fastest time we've seen so far, but it's still better than some of the ones we've seen today. So I think if they keep straight and fast, they will have a decent shot at breaking the record. So the Jaguar does start off with a solid 5, a good place to be, obviously. And the Jaguar has shown to have good speed and control, two things that you absolutely need on a race course like this, especially when you go around those turns, because we've shown so far quite a few times that you could have a decent spot on the track, but those turns can instantly end your run. And the Jaguar is already pulling away. The Honda's trying to catch up a little bit, so far is unable to do so, and even with that really slow wide turn, the Jaguar has the lead. He's going into this open part of the track now in the final stretch. Oh, he spins around, goes backwards. Oh wait, he's slowed down to a stop. The Honda's right behind him. I think the Honda actually beat him. We're gonna have to double check the replay for that, but it seriously looked like the Honda actually took the win away from him at the last second. Just as I'm saying the Jaguar has good control, the Honda comes out of nowhere, taking full advantage of its opportunity. Let's see if the score says that he won. Yeah, the Honda finished before him, and it looks like the Mustang did too, apparently. Not what I was expecting at all, but this really changes things up dramatically. I am just left speechless after that last race. It looked like the Jaguar had set themselves up to easily get to the finals, but after that last race, it's pretty much anyone's game. The Jaguar does have a bit of a lead right now, but as we saw, anything can happen at any point, even at the last possible moment. And the Honda's pulling up right beside him right now, hoping to cut him off before they get to the open spot, is unable to do so, but he's still right behind him. The Jaguar did maintain control this time, allowing him to get another win, which is very much needed for them right now. Meanwhile, the Mustang finishes in last. Now let's see what kind of time that was. A 14.76, that is not the greatest time, but a sub 15 is still at least respectable. Alright, so we go into the last race here, and the Jaguar, despite that finish in the second race, has already solidified their position in the finals. The Honda does have a very solid chance to join him, but the Mustang technically has an opportunity. In order for that to happen, though, the Honda would need to not finish at all, and the Mustang would need to finish in first, which doesn't seem very likely, especially since the Jaguar's out in front, and the Honda would still need to not finish. And it looks like they're going to. Jaguar finishes in first, and the Honda, I don't think they took third place from the Mustang, but just the fact that the Honda finished at all allows them to move on to the finals with the Jaguar. A good attempt by the Mustang, but unfortunately it was not enough for them. And with the Jaguar and Honda moving on, we have our 4 finalists, so let's move straight into the finals. I don't know about you, but I am very excited to see how this plays out. We have another Lucid Air in the finals, although they haven't been performing quite as well as the previous one, but I still think they have a shot. The Jaguar has been shown to be good, but not very consistent, and they're joined by Kia and a Honda. Going into this next stretch here, the Jaguar does have a bit of a lead again, but as we've seen already multiple times, that can change at any time. They don't seem to do really well on that final turn, but if they can maintain control, they usually can hold on to some form of a lead, and that is the case here. They did go sideways a little bit, but they managed to keep straight for the most part, allowing them to get a 14.5 still, a very respectable time. Alright, so the Jaguar starts off with a 5, Kia with a 3, the Honda with 2, and the Lucid Air with 1. Definitely a bit of a surprise when once again comparing them to the previous Lucid Air. But hey, maybe people don't want to see more than one Lucid Air in the final round of the tournament. Jaguar once again does start off with a bit of a lead, but the Honda has been shown that just because they start off behind does not mean that they'll stay that way. And with that tight turn, they actually managed to grab the lead. Everyone's staying pretty close together for the most part. They kind of clash together at that final turn. Who's going to hold on to the lead? It looks like it'll be the Jaguar. And the Kia actually manages to take second place. And the Lucid Air somehow is unable to finish. They just get stuck there. Let's see if the replay really shows how that happened. Yet they all kind of bunched together there. And the Lucid Air just kind of spun out a little bit. And they lost all their speed. Very unfortunate. I guess that's what can happen, though, when you have to try and live up to the expectations of the fans, who have already seen someone driving the same vehicle perform much, much better. Going into this third race now, the Jaguar already has 10 points. If they can win this race here, they will automatically solidify their victory and move on alongside our previous two winners. Saying that, though, the other three racers are kind of keeping up with him. The Honda is falling behind a little bit after that big turn, but the other two are right with the Jaguar. In fact, one of them is in front of him and is able to finish in first. Jaguar finishes in second, Kia in third, and the Honda, surprisingly, barely even finishes. Now, there was a 14.36, a very good time. Still not a record breaker, but it's definitely heading in the right direction. And now going into this final race, the Jaguar did finish with a 3 instead of a 5. And while they still have the highest chance to move on, they still have a slight chance that the Kia will take that spot away from them. In order for that to happen, though, the Jaguar would need to not finish at all, and the Kia would need to finish in first. Right now, the Kia is the one that's trailing behind a bit, and even if the Jaguar finishes, period, they will still move on. Along with our previous two winners, so far they're going into this final stretch without any real competition, and they finish in first, allowing them to solidify spot number 3 in the final part of this tournament. A great performance by the Jaguar. They do have a little bit of inconsistency to work with, but they did finish here with a 14.10, which is even closer to breaking the record. Almost got it, actually. But they will be joining the Tesla Model X and our previous Lucid Air in the finals. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you for more races and fun.